I mean, there are helmets that are so bad, even in Tarkov, that you're like, no. I go no helmet. That'll just slow me down.
Would you ever go
helmet.
spelunking? Like,
No,
for real?
no,
That
no.
scares the shit
Dude,
out of me.
I'm down for more dangerous shit.
I'm
than
shocked
an
you said
average
no
person.
so strongly.
Oh, I watched spelunking
Risk
footage
reward
recently, and this guy was in. He's in a cave, and the cave seems to be like 12 inches tall, but wide, right? So he's crawling on his belly. And by the way, I didn't say knees. I mean, he is like a snake trying to slither deeper into this thing. I think he took his helmet off because his helmet made his head so big it didn't fit in this tunnel anymore. How small is a fucking tunnel that your skull doesn't fit in it?
Yeah.
And he's like, guys, I'm in a bit of trouble because when I looked at this with my flashlight, I thought that it was going to get taller. I don't know the word, but deeper. That it was going to get more spacious. By the way, I didn't say it. He's in like 2 inches of water, right? So he's on his belly in 2 inches of cave water with who knows what living in it. And he's like, but I see now that it was the reflection
that I should have stayed in school
of the ceiling on the water. So he thought it was twice as large as it really was. And now that he's there, he's like, I need to turn around. And he's like, okay, well, turning around is not happening. I need to go out backwards, feet first, the way he got in there. And he goes, I'm stuck. And the video ends. And I'm just like, the fuck?
Oh,
imagine being stuck underground. And I'm not small. Like, I'm kind of big in the chest and
yeah,
like, that's not the sport for me.
That's like panic inducing.
If I can guide you back to that Netflix show, The Cabinet of Curiosities, there's one with a grave robber. And his problem is that he owes a lot of money.
I watched all that, yeah.
And there's a very rich man getting buried tonight, but the rats keep getting to the bodies before he can. That's how voracious the rats in this graveyard are. So sure enough, happens again. So he follows the rats and the corpse with all of its jewels on it down deep into the caverns, and he's crawling. He's going through a real scary kind of situation like you're describing. But I would never go spelunking. No, that's the risk and reward isn't there. There's nothing down there worth going to see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like whenever I see those videos, they're like, yeah, we went. Okay, was there a big cavern down there that had like beautiful colors? Mostly browns, and with a flashlight, those kind of get washed out. So like, why the fuck did you go? What if the amoebas got you? What if you went down there and cracked open some sort of like body of water that's been like an ecosystem unto itself for millennia upon millennia, and there's something down there that your body can't even deal with? What if it goes inside what if an amoeba goes in your ear and goes in your brain, and it turns you into one of those it's one of those parasite amoebas that makes you go back home and start making a cocoon for yourself or something?
That'd be horrible.
Yeah, don't go spelunking. That's your best case scenario, was an amoeba making you into a cocoon.
And worst case scenario is like you go first, get stuck, and then like you're just stuck between rocks in the earth.
Yeah,
that's awful.
You know what I would kind of like
to hear you yell. Like, I hopefully you have a buddy or something.
Sometimes I get tempted to climb one of those towers though, because but there's actually I saw there was a horror movie about like some two girls who are climbing one of those radio towers or something, like for the fun of it. And then they get up there and they have like a major climbing malfunction, so they're dangling. And I don't want to see it as a horror movie, but as an activity, I kind of do. I don't know. When I see those videos of people climbing those crazy high towers, I'm like, man, if you clip on and clip, you get Larry. Have you've been in a climbing harness, Woody? Right?
Sure.
Like a. Have you, Taylor? Like,
I've been in the climbing.
They're very secure when you're in a good one. And like, especially if you're given the opportunity to like tie the rope off, like here close and like bounce around in it and really feel it out. Like I got to do that, and it made me very secure once we got off the ground to like do some things that look silly. I don't know. If you're secure in those harnesses, you can do some wild stuff.
Do hide spot
and not be that scared of it.
I know that already.
Yeah, but I think with the harness and clipping in, like you got two clips, obviously. So like you clip in and go a few rungs and reclip. It's annoying. It takes forever, but it'll take longer. But I'll never feel scared, right? And you could climb a 2,000-foot tower or whatever they are and get to do that. I'm trying to think.
You don't feel scared? I felt a little scared. Like ziplining. I mean, there was this thing. Ziplining's very similar, right? You're in a tree. You're up high. You're clipped in. You're safe. and there's a platform around the tree, like picture a little ring around it. You can stand on the edge of it and lean backwards until you would fall off, but instead you're trusting your equipment to save you.
Ah.
And I did it a bunch. I liked it. I'd hold onto the rope as if that protects you. And it's kind of neat, but I'm scared. Like, I'm scared. I just like being scared.
Maybe you forget the first thing we did, which was not lean, but jump the fuck off backwards. We needed to go down, and so they're like, okay, so let's back up to the edge, holding your rope. And you're like, all right, fuck. Your heels get on it, and they're like, now just jump off backwards. Don't worry.
Were we on an automated belay thing? Is that what it was?
I think so. I think it was going to automatically like slow you down, and you had the 2 ropes, so you could like mess with it too and slow it down even further. You could stop in the middle if you wanted, but that to me was a weird thing I'd never done before. It was almost like one of those trust exercises, but instead of assholes from your office, it's a very expensive climbing rope. Like that's so overmade for what it's doing. And like once you get to goof around with those climbing ropes a little bit, and like if they're tended to by someone who knows what they're doing, not me, like I got my rope knots tied by a professional, then you'd feel safe. I think I could climb. No, don't get me wrong, I was scared several times during the zip lining. The backing off thing got to me a little bit. I certainly wasn't going to bitch out of anything. I was going to do everything, but like there were several times when I'll tell you the part that scared me was when we got on that platform and it started raining, and they commented that, oh, it'll go way faster now because the cable's wet. And I was like, fuck.
You didn't want to go faster and get it done quicker?
We were up because we were up so high, and already once that day I had like instinctively fucking like put my hand in the pulley, and I didn't say anything to anybody. But we got gloves on, and I going and like pulled my hand in a little, and I'd be like, "Oh, what were you thinking? What were you thinking, Kyle? What were you thinking?" And so for the rest of the day, I was a little shook up, and I had to be extra mindful. Like, don't you put your fucking good hand into the inner. You do that, you might as well cut the rope right after. We're not going anywhere without this.
You hold the rope a lot, I think, to control your speed, but you do it behind the pulley. If you do it in front of the pulley, you get
mangled. You lose fingers. You have accidents.
Yeah. Remember that scene in U-571, the submarine movie, where the guy gets his hand caught in there and it grinds all his fingers off and the pulley. Yeah. That scene's like, I remember watching that in theaters at like 12 or 13 and being like, oh, he's under the sea. Who's gonna take care of his hand? But then he like quickly was killed. Yeah. So it didn't matter. But yeah, ziplining is a shit activity. It's not very fun.
Oh yeah, when we went on that big one though, no, it was a good activity. I really enjoyed our time that day. Like,
wait, were you waiting in lines? Did you like have a big group?
We had a group. We had a group of maybe 8.
8? Okay.
Maybe 8. And it was a lot of couples.
I guess you guys were half of the group, so that's fine.
It was just Woody and I, and so everybody there was very friendly. Like Woody's always personable. He's like yucking it up with the young couple right away. And so we all got along well and had a good time. Everybody's taking pictures and shit. I think I went on like another different ziplining like tour like a month after that. When I got home, I enjoyed it so much. I went to a place called Navitat, which is in North Carolina, I think. That one's a good one. You do more like, it's more about how big and beautiful the trees are you're traveling through there, I think, because you get off and do kind of an arborist like experience. It's more hippy dippy.
Don't oversell. This is a regional arborist.
Ziplining is a good time, and
I enjoy myself.
This might be a weird thing about me, but I really like quality equipment, right? Like Cal mentioned, like the quality of the pulley they give you, the thickness of the overdone zip line itself, the harness that you're wearing. This is all real deal life-saving equipment.
I had all that stuff, but I bet my dad let it go to Rod over there because I had when we did that stupid reality show thing, they stiffed the company, by the way. They built a $10,000 zip line at my place. Most of that's cable and labor because those cables are expensive. And then they stiffed the guy. And the guy shows up and he's like, I never got paid. And I'm like, well, they paid me. He's like, who's they? I'm like, they are the ones who owe you money. I am the one who they paid in part with a zip line, just so you know. I took a sum of money and I was like, yeah, I'll take that much, but you got to throw in the zip line. And they were like, yeah, that's fair. What are we going to do with it? Take it with us? Deal. And that was our deal. And now I owned a zip line, and I had like a professional harness and everything I could zip line down. And I wanted to integrate that in some FPS Russia videos, and I think it did. But they stiffed that poor guy. They never paid him for any of his labor or materials.
Oh,
yeah,
that sucks.
That really stinks.
Yeah.
Oh, we mentioned Rogan earlier. Did you happen to see Cowboy Cerrone's story about cave diving?
No, I saw that there was a story about cave diving, and Mike Perry referenced it, but I didn't hear it.
So it's like a 15, 20-minute story. Cowboy's a good storyteller. He doesn't go
Is he the guy from
ABC.
Sunny?
No. Yes. Yes, he was in that episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Fight Bill.
He
And,
vomited, right? Something.
And
He's
shit.
like
Yeah,
pooping
yeah.
himself. Yeah.
He I guess he's sort of a master diver at this point. He explained the certification levels, how there's like open water and then like another kind of open water, and then cave diving is about as extreme as it gets, and explained that there's this sort of rule in cave diving that if you and I are in the cave, something bad happens to you, I'm getting out. Because like trying to help someone down there, both people can often lose their lives. You often hear that in like drowning victims, in certain scenarios. I won't like go through the whole thing, but basically his friend gets in trouble in a cave, and he like starts freaking out, and there's a lot of silt on the bottom of and that gets thrown up into the water, and they're blind now. And he's like, safety's behind me. There's a cloud of silt, and my friend tangled in a line in front of me. And I say, fuck it, I'm going to get him. And he goes into the cloud and gets lost. And so most of the story is about being blind in a cloud of silt, having no idea where he is in this cave, and talking and repeatedly referencing how much air he has left, until he gets to the point where he's like, this is how I'm going to die. And he starts thinking about he's got like a underwater writing kit, whatever you call that, and he starts thinking about writing the letter to his daughter and his wife that he's dead. He starts thinking like, I'm not going to drown. That's not how I'm dying. But I do have like this little thing that has like 15 or 20 big breaths in it, that I like a spare thing, and I can use that, and I can just rebreathe the same air until I go unconscious, and I can just go out that way. And then he's like, no, you're a fighter. You're a fighter. You're going to figure it. And he like goes through. It's a great story. Joe doesn't say a word. Joe is just like spellbound through the whole thing. It's excellent. I feel like, and like I could be wrong, but it seemed like Cowboy was about to cry at a couple points during the story. Very good story. Great episode of Rogan.
Have you ever
And
seen
it's not
Mr.
all white
Ballin
women.
on YouTube?
Mr.
The guy used to be a
No,
Navy. I hope I'm getting his name right. It's like Mr. and then Ballin. Ballin is spelled Ballen. And he does like 5 videos a week. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, and he does these like one of his more popular video series is called 3 Places You're Not Allowed to Go and People Who Went There. And it's things like restricted areas, dangerous places to go, things like spelunking down, like cave diving, and things like that. You get that sign. It's like there's nothing beyond this sign worth dying for, and these assholes go anyway, and they don't even have the right nitrogen mixture for their scuba tanks, and they end up getting like nitrogen drunkenness and then dying down in holes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He has some really creepy videos. There's this guy who was actually like a quasi YouTuber, and he was one of those guys who does like extreme hiking. It's like when you just go off into the desert for like a couple days, like just kind of wandering. And he had claimed in his YouTube video that he found this cave out near Area 51 near Nellis Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
And that when he tried to enter it, it felt like his body was vibrating, and he couldn't go any further. And he was overcome with this sensation of vibration in his body, and he couldn't go into the cave. And they're like, bullshit, no way. And then some people were like, well, fucking go back and document it, dude. And like he was like, you know what? I am going back. Well, he goes back and he's like, I couldn't find it. I was out there for 3 days and I couldn't find it. And like the fact that he kind of came back and said I couldn't find it rather than disappearing kind of led a little credence to his original story.
Yeah.
And they're like, a lot of people kind of getting behind him, like, dude, go back. We want to know more about this. He goes back a third time, and he's never seen from again. They send out huge search parties, and all they ever find is his cell phone sitting in the sand out in the middle of nowhere with no damages or blood or scratches or anything. They never found him. And he's got lots of creepy fucking stories like that. And like, I'll watch like 6 of them in a row, and then I'm just like, you know what? I gotta. This is making me. This is fucking me up.
Dude,
I gotta
really
change the
cool
channel.
looking channel. Like I've never
It's a
heard of
great
this guy.
channel. You can binge the fuck out of this.
I love
He's got
spooky
so much
shit like
content.
this. The spooky, the mystery. So like, yeah, I need to watch some of this guy's stuff. But I think just especially surrounding this like missing thing, from what I've heard from you, like the mystery seems to be the driving factor.
Mysteries are cool, and then like he's a very good storyteller. So like you're kind of hanging on to every word. Like, yeah, and then what? Yeah, okay. Oh, he'll present the mystery. He's like, and then they smelled something funny, but no one knew what it was. And you're like, well, what was it? And then finally he's like, what had happened was a man was being chased by police. He fled up a fire escape onto the roof of the grocery store, went into what's sort of, some stores will have like this thing that makes it look much bigger than it really is, like on the storefront. And it was hollow. This big signage was hollow and had a little door to access the inside of it, maybe to change bulbs or something. He went into that hot summer day, and the store had those pillars out in front, those with like stone laid into them, kind of like some fireplaces will have in cabins. But it's hollow. It's a hollow pillar. For some reason, he climbed down into the hollow pillar, feet first, one arm pinned by his side, the other above his head. And he kept sliding all the way down into the pillar until he was jammed in. And he's technically right in front of the entrance to a busy grocery store, but no one can hear his screams because he can't really get a breath because he's so compressed. Hot summer's day. They find him 5 days later because he's leaking goo out. He's dead. He's been rotting. And it's smelling so badly that they call like a repairman or a plumber. They call it plumber because they think it's a sewage issue. But he peels off one of the blocks off the wall, and they see the guy's leg. And like, there's so many stories like that, like just ridiculous stories.
Sounds
like
cool.
Yeah, it's a good channel. He's an interesting guy. Like I said, ex-Navy SEAL is. I haven't watched his video where he explains that, talks about his backstory, but his stories are really well told, and they're often dark and mysterious and fascinating. He talked about the catacombs is it Paris, that has those catacombs underneath with like 7 million people buried down there, and there's miles of them. There's some creepy shit about that I watched a video of. Interesting channel. It's one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, I need a new mystery or a crime thing to watch. It's a very fascinating little I guess genre.
It's so hip right now.
Yeah.
My wife is watching it. She just consumes like every night. She's watching more murder stuff, and some of it's poorly done, but she can't get enough of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, I like his channel a lot. Some of it is just like dumbass of the week, essentially. Like there was this artificial lake. They built a dam, and now there's a lake, and they have this thing called a spillway. When I envisioned a spillway, it's water flowing over the dam in a certain area, but a spillway, the way he referred to it, is this circular pipe out in the middle of the lake where water just flows over the top of it, over the lip of it, straight down 250 feet, and then goes under the dam and out that way. That way the water level never gets too high. It's very wide, like wide enough probably for a car to fall into. This chick swims out to it because she wants to like peek over the edge and look down into the hole. And she like swims past signage, warning, like past buoys and rope. And she gets to the edge, and there's so much current that she's washed in, but she grabs the edge and she's holding the edge for 20 minutes waiting on rescue personnel. And then she, it's a woman, so she's got no grip strength. So she falls 200 feet down.
The man would have been fine.
I'd have fucking done a muscle up, ejected myself out of the water like Aquaman, done like 2 wiggles like Michael Phelps, and I'd have been back on shore.
Yeah,
but her,
that's what guys do.
That's what guys do.
Guys are pretty cool.
We do.
Remember that the stone cutters.
The stone cutters.
Yeah. Who keeps the metric system down? Who something?
We do. I've been the other thing that's been recommended to me, and I watched too many of them, so now my feed is full of it. Is old Simpsons clips, and I saw one that I had never seen before, where like I don't know the backstory. It's a 40-second clip, but Homer's building like a float in his yard, like a parade float with flowers, and Flanders is like, "Hey neighbor, did you have to take all my all my flowers for your float? Well, yeah, I need a lot of flowers, Flanders. He's like, yeah, but did you have to salt the earth so nothing would ever grow? And Homer's like, yeah. He like picks up a hand of salt and lets it spill through his fingers.
I've been trying to find I've been reading a bunch of horror anthology books and shit recently. I bought the Necronomicon, the compilation of all of H.P. Lovecraft's his short stories. Like any anthology book, a lot of hits, a lot of misses. What's a purportedly true story, Wendigoon, that you would point me to that has a shit ton of lore around it that might actually scare me? It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to be demonic. It could be anything in your the spooky realm you inhabit.
A true story, though, right?
Yeah, something that I could look to it, and it could even be we don't even know why this happened, but it did.
The ones that always freak me out are disappearance cases, got into thin air type things. I recently did one about the Yuba County Five. That case freaks me out a lot, but I think I have a decent explanation for it. It's not a fun answer, but it's it's something that doesn't involve supernatural, right?
Is that a murderer case?
Maybe. It's 5 guys went up into the mountains under very weird circumstances. They were never supposed to go up there. It's a long story. But 4 of them, their bodies end up being found. 1 disappeared. A lot of beliefs are that the one who disappeared was the guy who murdered. I made a video about it recently. I don't think that's what happened. Instead, I think that he was forced off the mountain. I think the boys were chased by someone up there, which isn't a fun answer. That doesn't make you feel better, but it's not explicitly supernatural like a lot of explanations around those stories tend to be. Some of the ones that I would say are more creepy in their unexplained nature are the case of Dennis Martin. I made a video about that, and my conclusion at the end was oh, who knows?
I don't know, but it's scary, isn't it, guys?
Anyway, that's weird. See y'all next week. Yeah. The case of Dennis Martin's up there. The case. What was that boy? Hold on. Let me type this in real quick.
You're good.
Boy.
Dennis Martin.
Missing.
Such an innocent name.
Yeah, he was 6, I think. He was 5 or 6.
Oh.
Garrett Bardsley. That's the other one I was thinking of. This was a Boy Scout. He was out on a fishing trip with his father. I can get into the details of these if you want, but if you just want the names, Garrett Bardsley, Dennis Martin, and then there's one more. Carried. I can put in the highlights of the case, and typically it will pull up. Jared Atadero, Spanish. So Jared Jaryd, and then Atadero Atadero. Those are ones that it's kind of yeah, Taylor, go read that and tell me what you think, because I have no idea. That's weird. That's creepy. So the into thin air stuff tends to mess with me a lot, because typically the details around it are so bizarre that it's I don't know, maybe his entire family decided to kill him for no reason. That's the only thing that could make sense in a lot of these. The unexplained stuff tends to keep me up at night. So yeah, I have fun.
I wrote all those down. I'm going to look into all.
What about the
little Jared, Garrett, and Dennis?
What about the events that Fire in the Sky are based on? That logger from Oregon or wherever who was disappeared for multiple days, 3 to 5 or something. All of his buddies saw the light. They were all out there working, logging. He got separated, went to investigate the light, goes missing days later, naked, and passed the polygraph for whatever that means,
Yeah.
But still passed it, and says he was abducted by aliens and they did gruesome experiments on him.
So that's another one of those cases that's kind of yeah, I mean, whatever you think. It's such bizarre circumstances, I can't pin it down. I haven't researched that one the way I would a video topic, because I haven't made it. But from what little I do know about that case, My idea around it was always either an intense psychosis, like from him, like maybe he decided to fake the lights in order to trick his friends and then like make up this whole story or whatever, either out of some level of wants to be famous, I guess, or psychosis, like I said. But even then, that's exactly. Come on.
When you
like,
say
that's
fake,
pushing it.
when you say fake the lights, what is? Can you backfill me?
Like
with
I
the
got a
story?
little experience in pyrotechnics and such. I'd have a hard time fooling y'all that the aliens were over the hill.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So in this story, there were alien lights, or supposed alien lights that people claim to have seen.
Oh yeah, Kyle knows. Like again, I haven't researched him well. Kyle probably knows
There
the
was
details better
a
than I do.
bright light over the hill, like a blinding light that they didn't want to investigate because all the other grown men were afraid. And this guy's like, ho, 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 and runs off and doesn't show up for days. And when he comes back, he's like naked in a phone booth somewhere calling 911. But yeah,
The aliens are incredibly sexually aggressive.
they were. If you watch that scene, it's so upsetting because they're very matter-of-factly, like it's like when you see the crocodile hunter with an animal, like, oh, look at this, fucking measure, staple this through its fucking ear. Yeah, they don't feel pain like we do. Fucking roll him over. Let's shove a finger or two up his ass. See what? Yeah, it's the cloaca. Yeah, yeah, she's almost ready. yeah. Did you wash your hands? Fuck it. Roll her over.
You're like being peeled alive on an alien table, screaming, and they're like, "That's just air releasing from its lung." They just feel a sense of pressure, like a fish. You're just stop that, and it's like, wow.
See how it's all high pitched like that? Yeah, that's air escaping. They breathe it. Yeah, I know.
And then a big inhale, that's air escaping back in. For another escape.
It escapes the other way. No, that scene in the movie is one of the scariest movie scenes ever. Like it's terrifying.
It's one thing for someone to have you and want to inflict pain on you because they understand it, but to be kidnapped by something that doesn't even have the concept of pain, that's just there and treating you like another, like, I don't know, like a chunk of aluminum to be ored out, or like an animal to be weighed and measured and cataloged. It's real scary. And the actor. And so the aliens don't look like super realistic or anything, but they're scary. They're scary to look at. Like they have those, it's the traditional gray aliens with the big heads and everything, but something about them is more predatory and mean, for lack of a better word. It's like they're aggressively, like at one point he's like, "Arr!" And one of them's like, oh yeah, give me a handful of this brown muck to shove into its mouth. And he's just like,
okay, well, that's
awful.
not even science. Can you imagine if you had
science
a lemur,
we can't understand?
if you had like a lemur on a table that you're torturing, and you're like, we need to get the information from this lemur's biology and its metrics, and it's just like, and you're just like, nah, that's obnoxious. Put this Quickcrete in its mouth. Shut it up. Like, no, now it's not even science anymore. That's just that's just Saw 6. Like when they really lost the plot.
That's just mean. That's all that is.
I like the idea that to the lemur, a syringe, they're just like, he's just poking us with a sharp stick over and over. Like they don't see any scientific benefit to you stabbing them over and over. So when the thing like puts a handful of axle grease in his mouth, which is what it looks like, it's like they have no idea that this is this is magical axle grease. It tells us everything you need to know about a human.
10 out of 10 lemurs hate having their eyelids cut off and mascara smeared into it.
We had to know if it was going to sting.
We did. We had to know.
we had educated guess, but
Turns out,
New from L'Oreal.
Yes.
Tested on the sensitive of lemur eyes.
It turns out 10 out of 10 lemurs hate it for some reason.
we give it 8 out of 9 terrified lemurs.
I feel like we should really limit our bad animal testing to reptiles. We've got a ton of reptiles. No one cares about them.
What did a reptile do to you?
Yeah, right?
Would you prefer
Then we only have
monkeys?
products that are no. If we only test on reptiles, then we only have products that are safe for reptiles. I swear to God, if Biden suggested something like that, everybody would be like, reptilian. I told you they're reptilians. No,
that would be evidence he was a reptilian. He wouldn't want us to like an experiment on his brethren.
Or would he? He's just trying to lead us
Both
the wrong
ways,
way.
right? Maybe he wants to know that his
products
medication
are
will
safe
work for him.
We're testing
we
new
test on-
dementia medication for snakes. It's very promising.
That's good. That's good. I don't do a lot of it ever, but if I had a boat, I think I would. And I like the idea of towing some ladies behind me, maybe on some skis or on a float or something.
Yeah, the big rafts.
Go
are tons of
tubing.
fun.
Tubing is the best.
Dude. Tubing is, I guess I thought in my head tubing was a little lame because it doesn't take any talent or athletic ability. But if it's about fun, tubing is hard to beat.
Have you seen the new ones that literally fly?
Yes,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the internet, never in real life.
On the internet here too. Like I
Yeah.
haven't seen one, but they fucking fly.
What is the risk here? What happens if you hit the water from 30 feet in the air at 40 some miles an hour? I don't even know. Is it fun or is it
Tuck and roll, Granny.
right? Is it like hilarious and entertaining or horrible and tragic? What happens if you fall off a flying float?
I'm leaning much more close to horrible and tragic than I am hilarious and entertaining because I'm with you. The combination. First of all, I've come off of a tube before, just a regular inner tube. It's impossible for me to say how fast we were going, but I was skipping. You know, like it was going fast. It felt fast to me. Let's say 30,
Or more,
maybe
yeah,
not. Yeah, 30 easy. It was, you know, it was
Mhm.
the boat's going fast, and I'm back there like skipping along on this thing. And when I came loose, I skipped a little before I actually broke the water surface. Now, put me 15 feet in the fucking air and add another 10 miles per hour, and I feel like I could eat shit and break my neck.
You really could. The game we used to play on Lake of the Ozarks, which is where people around here in the Midwest go to tubing and shit, is we used to have a game where we had a big tube, like a really, really big one. It was a 3-person tube. And so 2 of us would get on there and each have like one arm grabbing. And then the whole ride was trying to knock the other person off of the tube.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was a blast, especially when you're the biggest
I was gonna say,
12-year-old
I
in
feel
Missouri.
like Taylor's gonna beat everybody.
It was great. Like my friends or younger brother would be on there. They like slap me, and it's like and then I just grab their wrist and remove it. And then they just it's like, oh, Taylor wins again. It was
It's like a
oh.
man against a woman or a child.
Yeah.
Just like
I
That
can't
was
help
so
but get
much
that.
fun.
But get that lassophobia, you know, the fear of the murky deep. When you come off the raft and you're sitting there floating with your life jacket out in that murky water, waiting on the boat to come back and get you, and it's just you there, and you start getting these images of like, what if something bit my foot right now? Like, what if even if like a catfish just nipped me a little, I would be filled with so much terror. And then, of course, my mind starts going to like, you've seen alligator gar in here, like. They're not the kind of thing that would eat a person, but they're the kind of thing that would bite a person and mutilate their leg a little bit, and it'd be fucked up.
Yeah, we'll
Like
take a couple toes off.
they have these long snouts full of sharp teeth, kind of like
I'll show
Google
people.
alligator gar, yeah, and then you start thinking they found a piranha in this lake a few years ago, an actual fucking Amazonian piranha that someone must have just thrown in the fucking lake, and if they found one.
Then
they
there's
didn't
more.
find
Yeah.
they didn't find the only piranha in Lake Hartwell. Okay, the lake is
Wait,
miles
Lake
and
Hartwell?
miles and miles.
That's where we're going.
Oh, it's a big lake. Yeah. It's good fun.
The time I remember the
there's
most
piranha
of
in there.
being spooked was at in the Lake of the Ozarks. Once I got knocked off and I fell off the tube, and you just wait there and you bob up and down and you wait for people to circle around. And I felt. I still remember the feeling. Like it spooked me so much. Like I felt on the whole bottom of my foot, not just part, like my whole bottom of my foot. I felt suction. I felt something touch the whole bottom of my foot and like grab a little bit. And I shook around and like in the water waiting, just being like, come back, please come back. I'm afraid now. And it didn't come back. But that was it. And I don't think I tubed anymore that day. That scared the absolute shit out of me. Because I got in and I was like, something grabbed my foot. Like something like sucked up against the bottom of my foot. They're like, Taylor, you're being a retard. There's nothing that's going to do that in here. Like, no, something did though.
Something did though.
Did.
Yeah.
I
can
got
be
a
scary
couple,
out there.
dude. So I've got wildlife ones like that, right? Like I used to go surfing by the pier. The pier impacts the way the waves come in, so it's a good place to go surfing. But it's a fishing pier. So they'd be pulling the sharks out of the water, but the fishing pier is like 20 feet in the air, and they fall back in. Now you just saw a shark here with you, like 100 feet away. And it starts spinning through your head like, yeah, I'm on the board, my feet are hanging down. They all tell you look like a seal. And you know, to a shark from the bottom. And I'm like, I'm looking like a seal. These sharks don't eat seal. I'm in New Jersey. But, you know, like that kind of thing. But the worst ever, I had a jet ski growing up.
But hang on a minute. Let me dispute that little point you just made. It's not like the shark's going to be like, look, a seal. No, Larry, we're in Jersey.
They may have never seen a seal before, was where I was headed with that. Like, because they're like, they haven't also been to California. But so I'm jet skiing in the bay, and there's a nuclear power plant here. And the cooling station is discharging the hot water into the bay. That's what it did. And people in Jersey probably know exactly where it is, like by Marmora. Anyway, I fall off my jet ski, and the water is hot. It's like a bathtub where you only turned on the hot. And I'm like, what's going to happen to me? The jet ski zoom, and then it starts making a circle like 70 feet from me. And I'm like, fuck! Like, this is a major problem. And you know, like, I don't catch it on the first circle, and I'm just, like, burning. And, the air has, like, less oxygen here. There's no fish. You're fine. There's no living fish in this part of the water. But
for good reason.
Yeah. But and then, like, on the second turn, I get on the jet ski, and it was still running, doing these laps, and I caught it and left. But that was the most frightened I've been in the water, in the burning nuclear water.
We were in Jekyll Island, and it's flat there. Like you start walking out into the ocean, and you just seemingly keep walking. Yeah. It just seemingly it's waist deep for 200 yards, and then it's chest deep for like another 200. And after a while, you're so far out that like, yeah, I see the people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're out there hunting for conch shells. Are you familiar with these? The big seashells.
Yeah.
Like. And the only way to find them is to step on them, and you know, gingerly sort of stepping. But every now and then one would poke you, and you'd know for sure that your foot was bleeding. And so there we are in this nipple deep, murky fucking water, way out there, like easily 300 yards, easily, maybe 4. And my buddy and I, it occurs to us that like, we're in the murky water, so murky that a handful of it you can't see. It's nasty. Mm-hmm. It looks like lake water. We're in this murky fucking water, and I want to say there's a forest fire that week, so it was even worse. Our feet are bleeding, and we've got armfuls of shellfish. We're like a seafood dinner out here. Like, we gotta go back. We gotta go back. Those shells stunk so much. We put them in a garbage bag and drove them all the way back to fucking Northeast Georgia. And I just remember opening the bag when I got home and oh God, no. I left them out in the garden for like months until the conch had rotted out of them. I wonder where they are.
When I was a lifeguard, I used to love to do this. It was like an adrenaline sort of thrill. I just swim out, like Gattaca almost, or you just swim out. And every so often I'd have someone with me who also liked doing this. And that would give me like an extra shot of courage because I wasn't so alone. Like, you know, whatever would get me wouldn't get me with a friend. And we go out so far out. Like first you can't see the beach and the people. Then you can't see the dunes. And then you can't see the telephone poles or even the hotels. And we're just out. And now you're surrounded by nothing but water in every direction. And I'm telling you, if you were to swim with no bearing, you can go off by like 90 degrees in 100 feet. Like you could screw that up. So we'd head back, and you know we'd play the like, do you recognize this beach type game? You know, we'd be all like, oh fuck, we're 4 blocks away. And we'd swim back, and then we always came back where we meant to, but sometimes it wasn't a very straight line.
Man, you need a compass on your wrist, huh?
Yeah, dude, I got suspended as a lifeguard for doing they were allowed to go swimming. There was a workout hour in the morning and the night, and I guess I did the Air Bud rules where hey, we're allowed to go swimming. You didn't say we couldn't go swimming way past sight of anyone who might need help. And dumbass teenage Woody did that.
Followed Gabby Petito at all?
I don't know what that is.
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, Gabby Petito was a van life chick, cute girl, and Instagram.
Oh yeah, her.
She's a big story right now. So she traveled out with her boyfriend. There was a 911 call, a little domestic dispute, and a few days later, she goes missing. Mm-hmm. Boyfriend goes home without her. Oh, I'm sorry, fiance. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened to her. Yeah, it could be anything. Well, now they found her murdered body, homicide.
Ooh.
And
do they know how? Like strangled or shot or?
They haven't told us.
Okay.
Yeah. So all they've released publicly is that they ruled it a homicide. Mm-hmm. And the boyfriend is now missing from this thing. And they
got him too.
Natural conclusion.
Most people think that he murdered her. He's a person of interest. He wasn't originally officially. Everybody, including me, was like, dude did it, right? They're not getting along. The 911 call is interesting because there's police body cams, and you can see the footage. And she called about this, wanting the police to come help intervene. And then when you got there, she seemed like the bad guy. Dude had scratches on him. He's, he's the more calm, in dealing with the police. And he's like, she did this, she did that. It's cool. They just separated them. One stayed in the van, one stayed in a hotel for that night. Mm-hmm. Not a good situation, but also probably not super. I don't know. I've never had the police or the domestic disturbance at my house, but whatever. Now she's dead. And there's a question of why are they looking at her? She's a pretty blonde woman, or she was anyway. And there's a term for there's a term for it, missing white woman syndrome. And I think who's the comedian who used to do? Is it Hannibal Buress?
Patrice O'Neill.
What? Yeah. Oh, you're right. You are right.
Yeah.
He
was the one he said, if I ever go out in the ocean, I'm putting a little white girl baby on a keychain.
That's great.
Yeah, just so they come find him. There she is. And that's the dude. That's the fiance. Thanks, Zach. And so they're like, hey, is this missing white woman syndrome where they're only reporting this story because she's a pretty blonde? And there's something to be said for that. I don't know how many can we name?
It's more of a mystery.
Natalie Holloway, Chandra Levy. Oh, okay. So he's that's another valid argument too. And she's an Instagram influencer. I don't know how big her Instagram was, but there are thousands of people following her story and her, wonderful fake van life. And, just what a privilege every day waking in these amazing sunrises is. That's that an Instagrammer might put about van life. So look, if any of us just did the van life thing, and then showed up and then my wife came home and I'm missing, and she pretended yeah, I don't know what happened to that dude. Mm-hmm. It would be a story too, even though I'm not a pretty young white woman. And because, whatever, 400 million views on my YouTube channel, people would have an interest in it that they wouldn't otherwise. Mm-hmm. Having said that, tell me all the stories we hear about missing old dudes or missing people of color. It totally doesn't exist.
I don't know. I guess you're really talking about this news media and them. It's what sells.
Yeah, what they report on. If he had killed her on the side of the road and the police cam saw it, it wouldn't really be a story. It would be oh, this maniac murdered his girlfriend. What a crazy and it wouldn't have gone anywhere. The guy, her being missing. Body found in the woods,
like a
guy
mystery.
Disappears. It's I think the mystery is what drives a lot of people, because true crime is huge. Like some of the biggest podcasts in the world are true crime.
Stayed up all night last night
Same.
on Amazon, and then just as I was about to go to bed at like 7 a.m., I found this terrifying YouTube video called let me get the exact name of it. Let me go to my like history or whatever.
I can't sleep. Or I don't want total blackout curtains in my bedroom. Like I like and I need that little bit of sunlight getting through in the morning to help me wake up and acclimate. Like if I had blackout curtains, I feel like I'd wake up crankier.
Oh, I
Like,
love
watch
it.
this video called "The Unsettling National Park Disappearance Problem." It's like a 20-minute video that details all of the disappearances in the national parks and some of the things that they have in common with each other. I got about halfway through it and I was literally afraid. I had to turn it off. I couldn't watch it anymore.
Haha, bitch.
Oh wow.
Because I was literally getting afraid of like what was taking the people in the national parks, and my mind was going like, well, of course they're all during bad weather. That makes sense. Okay, they're all during late afternoon. Okay, and wait a minute, what do you mean you're finding them without their shoes and pants, but they're not suffering from exposure? Where are their shoes going? You found the shoes 3 miles away every time? What's happening to them? And
it's
then
a Bigfoot with a GPS to drop them exactly 3 miles away.
And then they started like laying this conspiracy theory
Bigfoot wouldn't
sort of
want
stuff
shoes,
in,
Taylor.
where like
No, he wouldn't.
where like the FBI had been involved in a couple of the disappearances, and then they interviewed the Park Service, and they like he's like, we don't know why they were here. They don't assist in missing persons things, and he's like, has that ever happened before? No, never. And then what did they say? Well, they wouldn't let us go to the scene, and it's just like oh. I don't even know what they're suggesting is happening in the national parks, and I don't want to know at this point. I know I'm never going back. I couldn't finish it. I was afraid.
You were too spooked to finish the video?
I was spooked because at one point they did this like fade transition where like a dissolve, and like they dissolved onto like a early 90s photograph of a woman's face, and something about the way her smile and eyes like faded into the frame literally made my heart race. And I was like, all right, we're gonna go watch some fucking like PUBG videos or something. I gotta go watch something like when I was a kid, I'd watch like the Hellraiser or something because I snuck it into the cart, and then I'd be like, all right, time for Land Before Time after this, because there's no way I'm going to bed on that note. Like I had to cleanse my mental palate. Are
you plagued by nightmares? Like if you watch a spooky movie, do you get nightmares afterward?
Me?
Or anyone?
I do, but
yes.
it's not. Yeah. I have really crazy nightmares, and really like crazy dreams in general. Like
I know you've got crazy ass dreams.
Yeah, they have these long narratives. Usually, I'm being chased by like cannibal killers or something like that. Like I've had a lot of those where like they're literally trying to hunt me down and eat me, and I'll be with like friends and family, and they've already gotten like 2 or 3 of us, and they've always got like terrifying weapons, like a club covered with fish hooks or something. Like it's always like real detailed and visceral and fucked
Dude, I
up.
must be like a lucid dreamer because I never have nightmares. The last one I had was probably a couple years ago where like someone wanted to kill me. I don't remember the specifics. And I just remember thinking like, this is lame. And then like a second later, I was like doing what I wanted to do, like pretend Taylor in the NHL. Like that's the way my dreams go. Like, I can't remember the last time I had a nightmare. I can't.
Here's the thing. I don't really remember dreams ever. Like I can't remember the last time I had a dream, probably in years.
You typically remember a dream if you wake up unnaturally from it. So if I were to, drop a book in your bedroom or something, you might remember that dream. Or if the nightmare wakes you up. But that's why you don't remember the good ones, because you're waking up.
But nightmares, like Insidious wrecked me for like 6 months. I couldn't sleep for crap.
Remind us, is Insidious the one with Ethan Hawke?
Yes.
And where he's watching the home videos?
Rose Byrne? No. Where the kid goes to sleep and like leaves its body and goes into like the other world. I don't know. Well, I'll tell you how messed up it is. So when I lived in LA, one of my neighbors and a buddy of mine, him and his wife, he was a fairly well-known actor. He was in Game of Thrones, and his wife was like Helen of Troy, and she was Jill Valentine and Resident Evil.
Oh, that's a very beautiful woman.
So they're my neighbors. I knew them very well, and he was in a movie with Mila Jovovich called The Fourth Kind, and I know him so well, and I watched that movie and it wrecked.
I am always saying it's the scariest movie I've ever seen, and I suggest it to everyone. I'm not. I don't.
Me.
It's not an Oscar winner. No. The Fourth Kind.
The
With
fourth
Mila
guy.
Jovovich.
I know the guy, and he starts like, spoiler alert, he starts levitating on a bed, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna sleep for 4 months now.
Yeah.
Like
If I was him, I would be very complimented by your reaction to my art. Right? Like it genuinely affected your core.
Yes.
I must be a good actor.
I watched it when it came out. I want to say I was like early
18%
20s.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, fuck Rotten Tomatoes. They're wrong. All right. Like I said, it's not an Oscar,
they're wrong,
but
usually.
it'll terrify your ass. I think I watched it when I was like 22 or something, and I remember like I had to watch it at like I'd watch 20 minutes, and then I'd have to leave the room, go to the kitchen, like make a snack, like hang out in there for a little while, and be like, all right, like steel myself for for 20 more minutes, and go back to the bedroom and like play.
Yeah.
Oh
So
God,
when it
it
comes to
started
like
that bad.
serial killers or even zombies to some
Thank you.
degree, I'm like, well, whatever. You know,
Bring
if
it.
you bested me. You bested me tonight. Cool. I'll accept that dream. But when it comes to anything supernatural like demons or aliens, it's like I have to give in to it because there's nothing that I can do.
We're
And
in
that
complete agreement.
giving
I've
in
said this so many
that-
times.
Why don't you guys just like? Yeah, apparently there are things you can do to work on lucid dreaming because everybody doesn't do it naturally. Like I remember even as a kid when I'd be scared of demons, I would just turn myself into like a demon hunter in my dream. And so then it wasn't scary. It was more like they were afraid of me.
You have to then believe that there's a such thing as a demon hunter, and I'm not stupid. I just believe in demons.
Well, yeah, you're not stupid. I believe in the prerequisite for this circumstance, but not the answer to it.
Not this mythical solution for it. Those don't exist.
I used to have
Yeah.
a recurring dream where I could fly, but only if I concentrated really hard. And I mentioned that one time, and like everyone else in the room had the same thing.
Yeah, I
My
sometimes
only
have
recurring
lucid-
nightmare has been when I was like 9, and it was like a 5-second long dream over and over where I'd be like in my kitchen. My mom would be like, Taylor, you're late for school. Close the garage door on your way out. And I would run out with my backpack, start closing the garage door, and then trying to do that sneak under it thing. I would trip, fall, and the garage door would crush my head and I'd die.
Wow.
That was it. And then after that, I would go to a different dream and like I'd be fucking doing something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
like
like whatever
running
crush
around.
I had in
So-
second grade or however
Yeah.
old you are when you're 9.
I've said it so many times, but it's literally, and it's not just nightmares. It's fear in general. Like, I'm not afraid of any of the things you see in horror movies that I feel like I could handle in real life. Like a human being doesn't scare me because I feel like I can handle that. And even the monsters in movies that I just feel like are bitch-made monsters, like Chucky. Let's go. I'm gonna capture your ass, and I'm gonna have the best YouTube channel ever. When I show everybody my talking doll who's demonic, right? When I fucking pull the sheet off of that plexiglass box that I've locked your little bitch ass in, and you start like screaming and talking, like it's gonna make a lot of money. I've got a magical doll now, but like something like aliens and demons, those things I have no solution for. My Latin is very poor, all right, and I don't have enough aluminum foil to cover this room. So I feel like I'm in trouble either way.
In your head, as it's happening, though, is there, even as you're dreaming, is there some kind of voice that's like, demons aren't real?
I don't have nightmares about these things. These are actual, genuine fears I have.
Gabby
But
at Emptor
is
only
that
gets
somewhat
you so
sated by the fact that you know none of that's real?
In the dream, I often don't know that it's not real. I do have lucid dreams quite often, but in those dreams, I completely take over, kind of like Neo in the Matrix. And I sort of bend the code of the world I'm in to my own liking. There's usually a lot of sex and flying.
I'm a Hall of Fame NHL goaltender in my lucid dreams.
Why would
So-
you be a goaltender in your dreams?
Because I don't know. That's that's the muscle memory I know. And so that's what I do.
It's a really masochistic dream you have there.
It really is. That's like a known meme on like even like the hockey subreddit. It's like goalies are weird. Like they asked, like they had like an ask question where they're like, goalies out there, whether or not you played a high level, why the fuck did you do that? And one guy commented, he's like, yeah, fucking some pro came to our practice and he was firing off super hard slap shots. And one of them I got in front of and it hit me right in the arm, bruised me to hell. But I thought, I can stop an NHL level shot. And so I kept going. And all the comments are like, you're a fucking weirdo, dude. Why would you not quit and play where you can score? Which, fair enough. Going back, if I could play hockey all over again from a child, I'd want to play forward. Scoring seems like such a high that I never got to experience.
I liked.
So does keeping your
defenseman.
teeth though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was unless you're playing in the NHL or AHL, do they use masks? What do you know? Like cages?
I'm
I don't
actually
think so.
not sure.
I don't think they do. Yeah, I
Wait,
think
you're a Sharks fan, right?
No, St. Louis fan. We won the
Okay.
Stanley Cup this
Okay.
year, man.